In this video, we are going to use Umta to bring to the attention of the learner how you should respond to items come UNEB 2025. Remember, last year things were marked or scored a bit lightly, but this year things have been a bit tightened. So I request that you watch to the end of this video. Don't miss out any portion of this video because I'm bringing an explanation and demonstrating how each response should be placed line by line. But then I've summarized this kind of approach as a 4-key principle rule. 4-key principle rule. So in this kind of technique of approaching items come UNEB 2025, the responses should actually be specific, clear, accurate, meaningful. So the learner's responses should actually have 4 attributes. So if you just dump responses, you will not score anything. By saying it should be specific, we are meaning that the learner should actually read the scenario very well, check what the task demands, and have some keywords mentioned in their statements as they put responses. Clarity means that the responses should not be confusing, but they should have correct information. Accurate means the information displayed actually should be true, and we need the science in that description to come about, especially in cases where you are responding to dangers and cases where you are explaining certain things. Make sure you are accurate or true and bring out the science or the chemistry. Then the response should be meaningful. We mean that the response actually should be connected well, related to the task as it demands. Now watch the end of this video as we dive into the first item. We are using Umta because it has some good items that can help us understand how we can place these responses. Let's dive into the first. During a campaigning rally organized in a newly constructed playground, one of the supporters got a small cut. Now always endeavor to underline some keywords or the chemistry in the scenario. Got a small cut on his foot by a rusty metallic bar as he was dancing and boosting morale. Towards the end of the rally, he realized that the foot had got swollen. So the foot had been swollen. He thought it was fatigue, but on visiting a nearby hospital, so there is a hospital here, the diagnosis revealed an infection. So we are underlining these keywords because some of them must be included in the response to bring out the attribute of what we are calling specific. In order to kill the pathogens, metronidazole tablets. So we are seeing some modern medicine here. So modern medicine is right away here. Was prescribed. Prescription is here. When he reached home, he abandoned the physician's prescription. So make sure you are underlining those keywords and bring out your response containing those keywords there. So make sure you read everything, arguing that the medicine has many side effects and instead he took a green extract from plants. After 3 days, he had not improved. So there is a green extract here called a traditional medicine. Traditional medicine. He has met you and has asked you for advice. So let's look at the tasks and we see how to respond. Make sure the responses are going to contain keywords here. So first task here, explain to the supporter the category of the products that were prescribed. So we want only the modern medicine here, but remember that he had an infection. That would mean we should be specific on the form of medicine there. So the form of medicine is an antibiotic medicine, then the category is actually modern medicine. So we include these keywords here: prescribed metronidazole tablets. Don't just dump a response and say modern antibiotic medicine. Make sure you include those keywords. The physician prescribed metronidazole tablets, which are modern antibiotic medicine. Then they wanted how it works. Of course, how it works wouldn't be the correct statement, would be state the use or the function. Of course, the function and how it works is the same, but this language is better for nuclear processes and also soap or soap detergents. But here, the best word would be the use, which are used to treat bacterial infections. So we have seen here is the category, then this is the function. So to score all this block marker very well, the whole statement should have been laid well with some keywords from the scenario. Let's go to part B. Help the supporter to understand any one side effect. So we need one side effect here associated with the use of the product above. That is the modern antibiotic medicine called metronidazole tablet, and how this side effect can be mitigated. Make sure you be specific because they have already told you that the tablet is called metronidazole. So make sure you are specific in every aspect of the response here. So under this part of the danger or the side effect, make sure you state the side effect, then explain how it occurs, how the side effect occurs. Don't just put any other explanation. Then the mitigation. How it occurs must actually have science or the chemistry in it. So excessive use of metronidazole, make sure you are specific like that. Mention what is in the scenario or the task. Leads to liver damage. So liver damage is actually the danger itself here. Now, how is liver damage occurring? Explain the science behind liver damage, not just any other explanation. Because the liver is the main organ responsible for breaking down and removing drugs. When too much medicine is taken, the liver is overworked. So the cause of the damage is overworking and accumulation of toxins here. So this is the danger explained very well. So bring out the science. You will not score by putting any other response here or any other explanation. Make sure the explanation is how it occurs. Then it can be mitigated by using overuse. So you mitigate the cause of the danger that is occurring here. So this is the danger mitigated. That's how this part of side effect or the danger is actually responded to. So let's look at part C. How do you evaluate the different categories of product that can be used on the infection? So here we evaluate using a similarity and a difference. But when we are using a similarity and a difference, we don't just dump a similarity and a difference there. We create a block statement having a meaning to address actually what we call the society problem, or to address the problem that the task is demanding. Don't just dump a similarity and a difference. Create a meaningful statement showing that you are addressing actually the problem. So be specific by looking at what the task and the scenario want. So both this, we are specific by mentioning metronidazole tablets and green extract. You are specific according to what keywords appeared in the scenario and the task. So both metronidazole and green extract are used to treat bacterial infection. So this is actually the similarity. So by killing and inhibiting the growth. So this is the whole similarity. Now, however, metronidazole tablets contain a high content of active chemical ingredient. This is actually the difference here. So make sure the whole block statement is created to show that it is meaningful, not just dumping a similarity and a difference. Let's go to item 2. A manufacturing company of steel kitchenware, underline keywords, uses steel scrap bought from a local people. Recently, the supply of good quality steel scrap materials has been reduced, yet the demand for kitchenware products is high. In a bid to get the required raw materials, the procurement officer of the company got a new supplier to supply a new sample of steel. For the steel to produce good kitchenware, an expert advised that the percentage of iron, so there is something on iron here, in steel should not be below 98%. So we are seeing that steel is made up of carbon, and iron. So those are the key elements in steel. So we are seeing only iron is being considered, that the percentage should not be below this. So we shall have to look for that percentage somewhere, somehow. Let's proceed. When 0.114 grams of the sample of steel was treated with dilute sulfuric acid, correct this is 44.8 cubic centimeters of hydrogen was measured at STP. So this of steel is the whole sample, but only iron reacts. So steel contains iron which reacts with the acid according to the equation. So this is only iron, but this is the whole mass of steel. So we shall look for the mass of reacted iron and divide by this original mass to get the percentage. So let's now dive into the tasks here. Explain the category of the substance from which the kitchenware was made. So we must be specific. We are looking for specificity here and carrying a meaningful statement here. So kitchenware is actually one of the keywords. Steel was also there, which is a homogeneous mixture. So this is actually the category identified there because it has a uniform composition. So this is the reason. Category is the reason. Of course, here we need the category plus the reason. Then also alternatively, somebody can use the kitchenware keywords must come out, which is an alloy. Of course, now this is the category. Then mention the reason here. So let's go to part B. Make the company understand why the substance in A above is preferred. So we are looking at properties here and give one other use. So always we need 4 properties, not less than 4. So steel is strong and durable. So that's first property. Malleable, ductile, good conduct of electricity and heat. That's enough. But this is added for just consumption. Then the use. The use should contain a property related to that use there. Steel is used to make building frames. So this is actually the use. But to score that, it must be attached to this kind of property so that it carries a meaning there. So make sure the use is attached to the property which causes that use there. Let's go to part C. That use there. But remember, each statement should be specific, containing steel here, because another one I will say kitchenware, then you will not score anything. Make sure that the statement contains the keyword that is in the task and what the task demands and in the scenario. Let's look at part C. Help the company to know whether steel will make good kitchenware. So we want to actually find out the percentage of iron which should not be less than 98%. So let's go back to the scenario here and we check for some information here. So we are seeing that this mass here, 0.144 grams of a sample of steel, produced this kind of hydrogen, produced 44.8 cubic centimeters of hydrogen. So we are seeing from the equation 1 mole of iron produces 1 mole of hydrogen. So we are going to bring in the STP volume 22400 here. So we come down here and we say 1 mole of hydrogen is produced by 1 mole of iron. So 22400 is produced by 56. What of this 44.8 will be produced by what? So this is the mass of iron. Divide it by the original mass to get the percentage. Then put a meaningful statement here. Don't just leave the response at this point. You'll not score. Make sure that you put meaning to what you have calculated there. The percentage of iron in available steel sample is this, which is within the recommended range of at least above this. Thus the sample of steel will make good kitchenware. So this is actually the calculation has been brought out well with a meaning there. So make sure you conclude your calculation. So let's look at part D. Give one danger of the substance in A and how it can be mitigated. So we should note that the danger must be to the environment. And the danger should have 3 things. The danger, how it occurs, and the mitigation. Remember the word mitigation and the danger. But how it occurs is implied in the statement if it is to create meaning. Steel can cause water contamination. Do you stop there? After water contamination, then what? Leads to this death of aquatic animals. then the whole thing must have meaning. How did it occur? These heavy metals here. So the whole statement right from here to have meaning, this is now the impact with its meaning, how it occurs, and the impact itself. Then explain how you mitigate this. So you are mitigating this water contamination here. So it can be mitigated by treating steel waste before disposal. So this is the mitigation here. Let's proceed to section B. So in section B, so item 3, of course here we are dealing with industrial processes. So watch to the end as we dive into how you respond to this industrial process. Residents of a certain village in eastern Uganda use mechanized agriculture to grow cassava. So underline those keywords. Read the whole statement because sometimes some keywords can be required in the responses down here. However, the demand for the produce in a nearby city has reduced. Recently, as their leader carried out research, he realized that if they made value addition on their produce by converting it into another product that could be used to make sanitizers. So we are converting it to another product, of course that will be ethanol. They would get more money and solve some problems in the society. Though engagements with district leaders, the government has agreed to set up a factory. So we are setting up a factory to make this ethanol. However, the residents have little knowledge of the production process and the likely effect on the environment. Let's now dive into right away into the tasks here. So under item 3 and 4, make sure you are writing about 3 things as according to the basis of assessment. You are writing about the process of production. Then you are writing about the side effects of the process. The side effect must be due to the process. Due to the process, not the product being produced. Don't say people will get drunk. No, that's the product called ethanol. So we are looking for the side effect of the process, the manufacturing process. So watch to the end to see how we are going to put this response here. So now the other one is the social benefits. So let's dive into this. Under process of production, we need the vessel, V. Then we need the raw materials. Remember last year raw materials carried a lot of scores. We need the purification process, purification PR. We need some physical processes. We need some chemical processes. Then we need conversion to the desired products. Then we need the coherency. This is the complete process of manufacture. So make sure all these appear in your description. Make sure you have a vessel there. Make sure you have some physical processes, some chemical reaction, conversion to the desired product, then coherency. So let's see. I always encourage that let the learner use some short subheadings like process of production. Even if you list raw materials earlier, it has no problem, but that's double work. So the raw materials used are cassava. This is the raw material. Millet is the raw material. Water is the raw material. Malt or sprouted barley is the raw material. Cassava tubers after harvesting are peeled. This is a physical process. Then crushed, physical process. And roasted, this is still physical process to extract starch. Starch is treated with malt. So malt is the raw material, though already we have awarded it up here for about 60 degrees in a metallic vessel. Metallic vessel is a vessel. Malt supplies an enzyme diastage which catalyzes the conversion of starch to glucose. This is a chemical process. So ignore the equations and we encourage that just avoid them. Yeast from germinated millet is then added at room temperature and the mixture covered for 2 to 3 days in a container. And one of its enzymes, maltase, catalyzes the conversion of maltose to glucose. So this is a chemical process. Ignore equations. Another enzyme, zymase enzyme from yeast, catalyzes the conversion of glucose to crude ethanol. This is still chemical process. The crude ethanol produced is converted to pure ethanol. So this conversion to the desired product by fractional distillation is a physical process. Then distilling tank is a vessel. Then there is coherency. So ensure that you are checking for these key words here in your description because they are what they are going to score. They are called competencies. So ensure you write them as many as possible because like last year they counted and said 3 physical, 3 chemical processes. 3 physical processes. So write as many as possible. They say 3 raw materials. So write as many as possible to ensure that you don't miss out on any score. Let's look at the side effect. Under side effect, we shall state the side effect, then state how it occurs, then the mitigation. Then we said how it occurs should bring out the science, not just an explanation. You explain how the side effect has taken place. Let's look at it. Hot surface burns from distillation tanks cause wounds. So this is actually the side effect here. This is because during distillation, the tanks are heated to high temperature suitable for fractional distillation, making them very hot. This is the science behind them causing the burns, because they are very hot. Now, mitigate this cause here called the burns, mitigated by proper equipment here. So this is the danger mitigated. Then let's look at the social benefit. So the social benefit should be mentioned, its effect and its impact. So we start by saying, so the whole statement of the social benefits should have meaning and well connected, not just dumping things like employment opportunities, hence income, hence high standards. Make sure the whole statement is connected well right with some keywords from the scenario, like the industry will provide employment opportunities. So this is the social benefit. To the community people who will earn income, this is now the effect. Then improve the standards is the impact. So that's how the learner should put that response. Of course, a social benefit has no science in it. Let's go to item 4. Sodium hydroxide is one of the substances used in the manufacture of soap. When you are reading every scenario, read the whole of it. Don't miss out on anything. In textiles industries and pharmaceutical industries, many of the industries import already made sodium hydroxide, so we underline those keywords, which is expensive, thus making the production process costly. Fortunately, it discovered that the main source of sodium hydroxide is rock salt. So see that keyword rock salt, which exists in Lake Katwe in Kasese district in Uganda. Therefore, a chemical plant is to be established in the area in order to overcome the importation costs. The area member of parliament has identified with a group of chemists to deliver the information to the newly recruited workers. Let's dive right away into the process of production. So we are seeing a keyword here, rock salt. Don't leave it out when you are stating your response here. The raw materials used include rock salt, so this is raw material, and water. Sodium hydroxide is manufactured from rock salt by first dissolving in water. Dissolving is a physical process in water to make concentrated brine solution. The brine, so this is the raw material, is then purified, so this is purification, PR, to remove insoluble impurities such as sand, clay, salts, which could interfere with the final product. The purified brine, so there is something here, is fed into electrolytic cell. This is a vessel consisting of graphite anode and mercury flowing slowly at the bottom as the cathode. So this is the cathode, there is an error there. The cell is switched on. Switching on is just physical process. During electrolysis, the electrolyte decomposes, this is a chemical process, into sodium ions and chloride ions. The ions migrate to opposite charged electrodes. The sodium ion being positive migrate to the cathode where they are discharged to form sodium metal. So this is a chemical process. The sodium metal formed reacts with mercury to form sodium amalgam. This is just dissolving in mercury physical process. The sodium amalgam is dissolved in water physical process, forming sodium hydroxide. Formation is a chemical reaction because something has taken place there. Sodium hydroxide is then evaporated physical process in a metallic vessel. This is a vessel, to remove most of the water, then cooled to form. Cooling is physical process to form sodium hydroxide and stored in tight containers. So you have actually converted to the desired product and there is coherence there. Let's look at the side effects. Now we only need one side effect here. We have said the side effect, explanation how it occurs, and its mitigation. Make sure the how it occurs brings out the science. Excessive sounds from machines which cause deafness. So this is actually the danger or the side effect, deafness. Explain the science. How is the deafness taking place here? What's the science behind deafness? So this is the explanation. Then what's the mitigation? You mitigate the cause of the deafness or the cause of the side effect. So let's look at another point to just put more light, despite we just needed the 1 point there of human beings here. So this is actually the side effect. How does it occur? Mercury move through food chain. That's the explanation. How is it bringing about this death? We should have said something that mercury is a heavy metal which moves through food chains, damaging the nervous system. So the whole thing actually carries meaning. Then you mitigate the cause. The cause is this leakage of mercury here. So that's the mitigation here. Let's look at this other point. The plant produces chlorine which can escape into air, polluting it. Since chlorine is toxic, so there is something there. It causes death. So this death is the danger, but the explanation is toxicity here. So how do you mitigate that? So you mitigate this production of chlorine which is escaping here. You mitigate the cause. This is the mitigation here. So let's go to the social benefit. Just connect the statement well. The industry can lead to construction of roads. So this is the social benefit. Then explain the effect. So this is the effect, improves transportation and so on, contributing to overall development. That is the impact. Make sure the whole block of statement is well connected. There is no science in that. Let's look at part 2. So part 2 is for natural resources. So we basically need 3 things. We need the category plus reason plus composition. Then we need the impact of human activities on the environment and on the natural resource. Then how it occurs and its mitigation. Then you state the benefit or the importance. Also under benefit and importance, we must state how it occurs. Bring out the science. Anything to do with how it occurs, you must explain the science very well behind what you are talking about. Upon discovery of crude oil, so there is something to do with crude oil here as a natural resource. So this is our natural resource here. But read the whole item to avoid missing out on some keywords which can appear in the response. In Alberta, in Graben region, Uganda is likely to become a major oil producer. However, the extraction and production process would involve displacement of local communities. This has raised concerns among human activists, livelihood, and social justice. Imagine you are in a team that the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development censors the public about sustainable use of natural resources. Remember that there are many human activities on the natural resource being made. There is oil spills. There are also burning of these fuels, because after separating crude oil into its components, the components can be burned for fuel in diesel engines, petrol engines, etc. So let's dive into the response here. So make sure you state it smartly like I've done here. A small heading, small subheadings. But if not, use a paragraph here, then jump one line, use another paragraph there. Oil is a non-renewable resource, so this is actually the category. Give the reason, then mention the components of oil. Mention elements, not compounds here. So these are components, another component, another component, another component, another component. Then let's go to the impact of human activities. Of course, we've said the impact of human activity should be to the environment and the natural resource. Then we explain the chemistry or the science, how it occurs. Then we mitigate the cause of that impact there. Oil spills, this is the human activity, it's not the impact. Then can lead to water bodies cutting off oxygen supply, causing suffocation of these aquatic animals. So there is suffocation of these animals which are in the environment. There is affecting the water body. So this oil spills is affecting the natural resource, affecting also the environment by affecting what's found in the environment. So the whole statement should be connected well. Then explain how this suffocation of aquatic animals is coming about, which leads to their death. So the explanation should bring out the science of how are the aquatic animals suffocated. This is the science. Since oil cannot allow air to go through. Don't put just another explanation. Make sure it is explaining the chemistry or the science, how this impact is taking place of suffocation of animals and their death. So here, this is the impact identified, impact explained, then impact mitigated. You mitigate the cause here. The cause is oil spilling. So let's look at another impact, but we need only one impact. Oil can be converted into fuels. So this is actually the human activity here. Use of oil as fuels. But then what is the danger? The danger is results into acidic rains, then which affect plants. But what is the chemistry behind acidic rain? So this is the how. So this is the impact. Then this is the how the formation of carbonic acid is the chemistry. So this is the explanation. Then connect the whole statement to have meaning up to here, because after bringing about acidic rain, then what happens? Lowering soil pH, then affecting plant growth. You have just made the whole statement very meaningful. Then mitigate actually the use of oil as fuels, because that's what's causing release of carbon dioxide. So you mitigate the cause. So this is the mitigation. So let's proceed to the importance. Now under importance of the natural resource, you must state the benefit or the importance, how it occurs. Oil is a source of motor fuels for automotives. Now this is actually the benefit. So how is oil a fuel? So this is because when purified, it gives us petrol and diesel. So this is the how it occurs. So make sure that you bring out the importance and the explanation, and make sure the whole block statement has a meaning. Let's look at item 6. Uganda's environmental sustainability and public health are under threat arising from increasing population due to rapid urbanization, industrial activities, vehicle emissions. So all these emissions will affect air. Of course, agricultural practices can even affect water, can affect vegetation and trees. So, but just pick out one natural resource and focus on that. But read the whole item through to get the clear meaning of any keywords. The Uganda Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, through selected teams of chemists, is working hard to address the issue through policy interventions, regulations, and public awareness campaigns. Your head teacher has been requested by one of the teams to include a member of the school, and you have been chosen. So let's look at the response. So you start by saying the natural resource is air, but then the category is what we are looking for, then the reason, then we mention the compositions here. So these are components. So let's look at the impact of human activity. Industrial activities and vehicle emission, these are human activities that were in the scenario. Now what is the impact? What is the danger they are causing on the environment and on the natural resource? Actually, they are increasing carbon dioxide in the air. This is the effect on the natural resource. Then in the environment, they are causing global warming. Then explain the chemistry behind these impacts here on the environment and on the natural resource, because this is now the explanation. So this is explanation, then this is the impact. Then you mitigate the cause here. So you are mitigating the cause, which results into release of carbon dioxide here. So this is the mitigation. So that's how you respond that part there. Benefit, state the benefit, how it occurs, bring out the science. If you state a benefit and you don't know how it occurs, leave it out. Only use the ones that you know. Air facilitates photosynthesis. So there is some photosynthesis here. Explain how photosynthesis is brought about. So this is the benefit. Then make sure you explain it here. Thank you.